Welcome back to another video, and in today's video, we're ranking every single dessert item. We have a bunch of dessert items here. You can see the tiers above, S all the way down to F. You know the deal with these tiers. Before we get into the tiers, make sure to leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you enjoy the content, because we're on the road to 1K, and you want to stay on that journey. We're trying to get to 1K, so let's get to 1K. And also, comment down below where you would put in these desserts yourselves. Pretty much a lot of desserts, so let's get straight into it. So pretty much also my tiers, there's no tier where it says I've never tried before. So what I'm going to do it is based on, I'm just going to put the desserts I've never had before in C tier, because that's just kind of the middle thing. Because if you think about it, like if I taste something and it's bad, it's going to go down. If I taste something it's good, and then it's going to go up. But that's the neutral tier. Let's just pretend that C tier is the tier I haven't had, because I don't want to have too many tiers in this tier list. The first dessert we are rating is the macaron, or whatever you want to call it. I've never had one, unfortunately. I'm going to put it in C tier because I've never had it, so I'm not gonna say about it. I've seen them before, I've just never had one. Next up, we have this. Is this ice cream cake, or is this just regular cake? I'm gonna look through the tiers. Is that ice cream cake? That's cake. What is this then? Okay. There's a lot of, like, I see red velvet. I see, like, birthday. They look the same though. Like, there's a lot of tiers, but what's this? This one right here is close. It's got like chocolate at the bottom. I don't know. I'm just gonna do it based on what it looks like in the picture. I'll give this a solid B tier. It looks it looks good. Again, the thing that I don't like about cakes is the frosting. That's the one thing I don't like about cakes. But otherwise, I think cakes are really good, especially the cake itself. Not the frosting is not that good. Next up, we have the cupcake. I'm putting the cupcake in A tier. Not quite S tier because again, I don't like the frosting, but I think it's better than a cake because I think it serves more of a purpose. I think having them a little bit smaller, having them more of a bite size kind of thing, like you don't get just frosting, you get both of them together. I think it's gonna make it an A tier. So I'll give cupcakes an A tier. Next up, we have the cinnamon rolls, S tier. Cinnamon rolls are so incredibly good. It's always the memory of Christmas Day having cinnamon rolls. It's so incredibly good. I love the cinnamon rolls. It's so incredibly good. Just because it's cinnamon with the sugar, with the frosting, but the frosting isn't like cake frosting. It's actual good frosting. Then you bake it, makes it all warm, makes it all gooey. S tier. Next up, we have the apple fritter. I've had this a couple times, and it's actually not that bad. I'll give it B tier. I don't have it enough where I'm not going to also rank them in their individual tiers. So I'm not saying that this cake's better than this apple fritter, but I'm just ranking them, not on tiers, not based on individually in each tier. How does that make sense? But going back to what I said about the apple fritter, I do like the apple fritter. I've only had it a couple times, so I can't rank it too highly, but it's basically it's like a pie crust, but with apples in it. But it's not apple pie. It's an actual there's like donuts. It's good. I really enjoy apple fritters. Kind of hard to explain. Next up, we have the crepe. I don't know if I've ever had a crepe before. I think that's a crepe, right? That's gotta be a crepe, right? Because it's not a pancake. It's a crepe. Yeah, I would say I've never had one crepe before. Actually, no, I've had it one time. I'll keep it in C because I thought it was pretty neutral tasting. Next up, we have the chocolate covered pretzels, or the covered pretzels. I'll give this D tier. I don't think pretzels does really well with dessert. I've had it a few times. It's decent. I just don't. The pictures they show right now doesn't remind me of dessert though. It reminds me more of a snack than anything else. Next up, we have these things. I've never had these, unfortunately. I'm gonna give it C tier. They look like the Choco Tacos. You know those things? I've never had them before though. Is this cheesecake? This has to be cheesecake, right? That would make sense if this is cheesecake. That's the only thing it can be. Unless it's ice cream cake. Or is this could be ice cream cake, actually. Oh, I think this is ice cream cake. Okay, hold up. This is regular. That's red velvet. And that's another, like, birthday cake thing. Okay, I'll say that this is cheesecake and this is ice cream. I'll put ice cream cake into S tier, actually. Ice cream cake is so incredibly good because you get rid of the frosting, you get more of that ice cream. Ice cream and cake together is a great combo. Now going on to cheesecake, I'm gonna give it B tier. It depends on what kind of cheesecake you make. Like, I like the chocolate ones, but there's some ones that are just a little too much for me. That it's very very heavy. So sometimes I don't like it, sometimes I do. It depends on the cheesecake that you get. Next up, we have the brownie. Without a doubt, S tier. One of the best desserts. I keep saying dessert items ever. Like, it's so incredibly good, especially a warm chocolate gooey brownie is one of the best feelings. Obviously, in my opinion, I rate chocolate chips higher, especially if they're out of the oven. But brownies are a very close competition. I'm putting brownies in S tier. Next up, we have. I think this is tiramisu. I'm gonna put tiramisu into C tier. Kind of similar to, like, I think, like a crepe. It's kind of neutral tasting. It's not bad. It's not good. I had it a couple times. It's a very, very weird flavor. Like, you have to get used to the flavor to enjoy the flavor, but it's not bad. I'll put it in C tier. Next up, this has got to be the birthday cake. I mean, These look the same, so I'm gonna rate them the same, like they look the exact same. Birthday cake's gonna go into C tier. I don't like really cake that much on its own, and birthday cake, like sprinkles add nothing to the cake. There's nothing special about a birthday cake. I'll say that. Nothing special about it. Not bad. It's just, I think it's because it's like so bland tasting that it puts it into C tier. Next up, we have the ice cream. Obviously, this is so versatile. I'm gonna put the ice cream into A tier. I think ice cream's gonna go into A tier because I really do like the ice cream. I just think I think it's so versatile. You could have chocolate, you could have strawberry, you could have anything. Like literally, ice cream is so versatile. You can do whatever you want with it. It's gonna go into A tier. Next up, we have red velvet cake. I'm putting red velvet cake also in A tier. It's probably like the best version of a cake without the ice cream in it. I love the flavor of red velvet. It's very good tasting. I don't know exactly what's in it. I'm not gonna lie, but it tastes good. That's all I can say. So A tier. Next up, we have the s'mores. I'm putting the s'mores into S tier. So incredibly good. You got the graham cracker, you got the chocolate, you got the marshmallow all together. When it's warm, when it's fresh off the campfire, it's so incredibly good. Some of my best memories have s'mores involved in it. S tier. Next up, we have sherbet. I'm not a big fan of sherbet. I'll put it in D tier. It's quite neutral tasting, and it's a worse neutral taste than the other things in my opinion. It's not that good. Next up, we have the Rice Krispies. Probably gonna go into B tier. If it's covered with chocolate, it's good. On its own, it's probably C tier. So like A, then C, it's gonna go in the middle, and it's gonna go at B. They're not bad. They're kind of sticky. That's my only complaint. They can get really, really sticky, and that's what makes them a little bit worse. But as a dessert, I'll have it for sure. But I'm not gonna have a ton of Rice Krispies. Next up, we have the donut. I mean, it's just even a question. This is S tier. So again, similar to similar to the cupcake, similar to the ice cream. There's so much versatility with it. You can have a chocolate, you can have a maple, you can have an apple fritter, you could have the sprinkles. Even though the one that they show on the screen, the pink one, they're not that good. But like I love a chocolate maple apple fritter. One of those ones are so incredibly good. Esther for the donuts because it's a donut. Like what else? What else do you want me to do with it? Next up, oh wait, this is ice cream cake. Okay, hold up. So what is this then? All right, I'm putting this back in B tier. I don't know what that is. Ice cream cake's gonna go next year, and I already told you about what it is, but I can tell you again. Ice cream cake was just better because it's filled with ice cream and there's just a little bit of cake. It makes it better. You get that complimentary of both things. It's not just one thing overpowering the other. It's S tier. It's so incredibly good. Next up is the banana split. I've never been a fan of the banana split. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna put it in B tier because it's not bad. I think banana splits are still decent. I'm just not a big fan. I love bananas and I loved sundaes, but when they come together, I don't like them as much. I just don't think the flavor profile works. Like I know some people like it. It's just not a thing that I like. I don't think bananas work well with a dessert. Next up, we have fudge. I mean, fudge has to be S tier, right? It's pure hard chocolate. Chocolate's my favorite tasting dessert item. Why would I not be S tier? Is it rich? Yes, but it's chocolate. It's just straight chocolate. What else are you gonna say? That's S tier. Next up, we have the apple pie. So we'll do all the pies now. So we have apple and we have pumpkin. In my opinion, the apple pie is the best tasting pie. I'm putting apple pie in A tier. I'm not a big pie fan. Pumpkin pie is gonna go into C tier. Pumpkin pie is not as good as apple pie. It's just not. Apple pie is so good. I love the apple pie. I think it's just the warmness of the apples. It's a weird tasting thing. I feel like the first time you have it, it's weird. It's not normal. Like you don't taste it, and you're like, "That's the same profile flavor that I would expect it to be." It's an interesting flavor, but once you get used to it, apple pie is great. Pumpkin, I'm not a big fan. It's quite a strong flavor, and there's no like the crust does not help you with the flavor. The pumpkin pie is so if you either love pumpkin pie or hate pumpkin pie, I'm just quite neutral with it. Next up with the churro, I'm putting the churro into A tier. Can't go to S tier because I don't have it enough, but churros are really good. Just cinnamon with sugar on a string with a bunch of cinnamon. It's basically candy. It's just straight candy. It's so incredibly good. Next with the cookie, this is without a doubt S tier. Probably one of the best out of here, maybe the second best. I put donuts first and then that second. But chocolate chips, especially if they're out of the oven, not the ones that are shown here. If they're out of the oven and they're fresh and they're gooey, like the chocolate's like gooey, so incredibly good S tier. Next up, we have candy in general. I'll put candy in S tier. I mean, yes, yeah, I'll put it in A tier because you can have some really bad candy as well. It's quite hit or miss, but the candies that are really good, like Kit Kats, Twixes, Snickers, whatever else you want to say, yeah, that's elite. But then there's also some like Almond Joy, which I don't particularly like. Next up, we have the frozen yogurt. It's another S tier. Man, I love dessert. Frozen yogurt's amazing. I love the frozen yogurt. The reason why I like frozen yogurt so much is because I think it's the best thing to have on a warm, hot day. Also, it doesn't melt in your hands because it's in a cup, and there's so many you can have so many toppings on it. I think having soft serve ice cream, but it's like a yogurt, is so much better than like hard, in my opinion. Next up, we have the popsicle. This is gonna be the only F tier, in my opinion. I don't like popsicles. I think they're more of a snack. I don't consider them a dessert, even though they definitely are. I'm just not a big fan of the popsicles. I think they're pretty overrated. It's just basically juice. They can also get all over your hands and it's sticky if it's a warm, sunny day. I get the idea of them. They're refreshing. But in this kind of chill list, I guess I'll put it in F tier, even though it's realistically not an F tier. But in my opinion, it's going to go in F tier because it's the only one here that I probably would put in F tier. And last but not least, we have cookie dough. I'm putting cookie dough in B tier. It's solid. It's nice. I like it. I just don't like it as much as chocolate or vanilla, so it's definitely a different tasting kind of dessert. But I do like the cookie dough. And that's me ranking every single dessert item. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new because we're on the road to 1K and you don't want to miss out. Get on that train right now and let's get to 1K. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.